Hello everyone, thanks so much for coming. I'm Janice Gabry and I've met some of you in the past. I've done boot camp, I'm a Bishop's grad, business and economics. 1992, stop adding, I'm old. What I want to just reinforce the power of networking. So fast forward, 1998 I did a seminar at Bishop's for people just like you. It wasn't called boot camp then. A guy named Mark Thompson in 1999 came to me and said, I want to work at your company. He was hired, networking. In 2000, a year later, he introduces Brian Benjamin, a Bishop's grad, to say he would love to work here. And let me fast forward to 2014. Brian Benjamin is now a vice president and leader of leadership solutions here at Knightsbridge. And I'm a director and principal here at Knightsbridge, which is why we're here today. Just to reinforce, don't come to this thing and then not connect with us later. And Taylor, you were one of them that, if you can believe boot camp, how many people I met over the years. Yeah, less than a handful actually connected with me. And 2 months ago, I just met with Doug Jarvis. We keep in touch for opportunities. Another guy you might know recently. So anyway, do it. Listen to these guys. Mm-hmm. So I'm up here talking about resumes. Because resume, typically you think of as part of a job search application process, but I want you to think about it as building your reputation, your brand, your credibility, and you may actually use it to apply for a job. But what I'm going to do is sort of give you the components of the resume. So why is it so important in today's marketplace, as well as what should and shouldn't go in it? Accomplishment statements. This is the wow factor. This is what's making you unique and different. Whether it's 1 year out of school, 5 years out of school, what makes you unique from others in the same role. It's going to look a little different. So we're going to talk about types of resumes from when you first graduated and evolves after 5 years as to where that education piece goes. So we're going to show you a few of those as well. And then talk about some different tips for success when it comes to these things. It's the wow factor, the brand, and brand is huge now. Purpose and importance of the resume. It really is, as we mentioned earlier, it's a marketing tool. It's your brand. It's not going out to every networking meeting that Elaine was speaking about. You don't bring it with you. You bring the business card. You bring your brand statement. But it is something that people, as soon as they say, how can I help you, pass me your resume. So you are all in sales when you're looking for a job. And it's marketing. It's a marketing tool. It's highlighting skills. More important to me than anything at all is what are you interested in doing? Is it the analytical piece? Is it the communication piece? And a lot of you will say, well, I only have 1 year out of school. What really goes on a resume? You wouldn't believe that stuff. It's the stuff you did at school. I was on student council. SRC, recording secretary, I did that all through Bishop's. I also did the directory in the good old days when we actually typed it in a computer and printed it off. And I sold advertising for that. Those are the jobs that got me jobs. So that is relative when you're looking for work. So you're keeping that in the resume, as well as all the new stuff you're building. Never underestimate what you're gaining already. It's going to get you in front of an employer, and it's not a testimonial. So if you want a ditch that you painted for 3 weeks one summer, get rid of it if something else is more relative. If you ran the painting company or the lawn care company, it's going in there, because that's entrepreneurialism and business savvy. Why is it so important today? Because there's so many awesome people out there, and you're all sitting here taking advantage of things like that. There are other people as well. So you want to be able to stand out. You want to make it easy on the audience to identify what you're all about. You know, those HR recruiters they were talking about? Make it easy on me so I can see really quickly what you have to offer. Stand out from the crowd. Specific examples. You're going to spend hours on this thing. You probably have already. And it's going to look a little different from Mike Teed, and that's the difference of when you were in university and now. So it will look different. You'll spend hours and hours and days and weeks on it, and we're going to give you 20 seconds if you're lucky. But if you grab my attention in 20 seconds, I'm going to read on, and you're going to come in for a meeting. That's the goal of the resume. Key for me. There's that word brand again. What focus or role are you interested in? And if you don't know the exact role quite yet, what do you love doing? Is it the communication? Is it marketing? Is it numbers? Is it analytical? Know what you love doing, and then what strengths back it up. What do you want to be known for? Your brand, and just what you love doing. That's what a resume is all about. Do a little research. So we had the researcher talking, networking, what is that? Sitting down with people and saying, what does it mean to be a career consultant? What does it mean to be in HR? What does it mean to be in finance? And then get that in your resume. We're going to talk about some of the shoulds and should nots. And a lot of this is common sense, but there are some key things I just want to bring up to you. I'm going to pull all of this up right now just to make life easier. Name, if you are William Jones, but you go by Bill your whole life, Bill is just fine. You don't put the formality. Personally, you don't need a middle letter. It's casual, Janice Gabry. I don't need all the formal pieces. Resumes have changed a little bit. The full address, nobody's mailing you anything anymore, ever. So it could be Toronto, Ontario, Oakville, Ontario, Ottawa. Really, and it's a cell number, one number, wherever they can contact you, not a home number in case you have other roommates or family that can pick up the phone. And obviously your email address. Highly recommend it professional as well. I do caution people against Hotmail. Hotmail carries a lot of spam and can be filtered out of many organizations. So make it something very recognizable with your full name in it as well. And if you're moving around, don't do Rogers Simpatico associated with your home. Get the Gmails and those sorts of things. And LinkedIn, your URL. And if you don't know how to tailor it to get rid of all the BRXL 1, 2, 3, 4s, make sure you get it nice and clean so you're easily recognizable. There's your phone message as well. So pick one number on the resume. Make sure you are, and also the incoming calls, make it professional on your cell phone. The fun one that you have for all your friends to call you about where to go Friday night, that's not what I want to hear when I'm giving you a call to come in for an interview. And, oh yeah, so there's the LinkedIn one. Good. Make it easy for me to get a hold of you. And these are just samples, and there are going to be plenty of them. And you'll see if there's, sometimes people may have a hard time if they have a common name. David Jones could be David Jones Marketing, David Jones HR. You can tailor this stuff to create your brand. Objective versus profile. This is going to be a big thing because when you're new out out of university, is I want a role where I can do this. I am striving for a finance. I am striving for, or I'm not sure. I'm just really eager and analytical and strategic, and I can help you out. Do you know what? You have experience under your belt. I don't care if you have 12 months or 24 years. Remember that brand, what you think you're all about? Here's an example. Objective. Seeking a challenging role of product development in a leading organization. It's not bad. It's good. I want great. Here's what you are. Profile. A creative and passionate product developer. Wow, right there. Experience analyzing, planning, preparing small and large projects. Demonstrates collaborative approach, working with teams in order to complete a task on time, accurately. Driven to work hard and contribute to the success. Any of you could write that. Those are your skills, the things you want to be known for. Look at the power of a profile versus a give me something. Let me show you. Does that make sense? Start creating your brand because goal, grab my attention. It's in the first third of the resume. It's any marketing material that comes in your in the door of your house. It's the first chunk that you're going to read. If you like it, you'll go on. Same thing on a resume. It's a snapshot, allows you to demonstrate key service offerings, strengths, professional platform. That's your hitter. Let's go. Oh, look, it's bishops. Doesn't it feel good? Don't you wish you were all there again? I do this seminar for so many people. Now it's finally in front of bishops people. I'm so excited. So I am really, I like it clean, simple. Remember, it's all about me, the reader. It's a BA, business economics, with the year. I don't need the months. I don't need how many years. Just nice, clean, easy, the year you graduated. And not necessarily all the courses. You don't need to list all of that. Awards. Fairly recent, you guys in the room, sure. 10 years from now, may not be. If there's graduating with honors or distinction, of course. So what you will realize, the more experience you get under your belt, some of those things will fall off because you've gathered that experience. High school, usually if you have completed a university, you have had to complete high school. I typically take it off because, quite frankly, who cares that I graduated from Leamington District Secondary School? Nobody knows where it is or cares. If you do, yay, you must be from Windsor. However, if you have gone to an institution that has great reputation for networking, UCC, Branksome, all those schools that I have not been to, Upper Canada, throw them on there. They're actually, it's good networking profiles as well. And professional development. I love that. So I've already heard some of you are taking additional, whether certifications, degrees, expanding your specialties. This should be on your resume. You know why? You're continuous learners. You're part of an association, a membership. What it means is when you come in and you don't know my SAP system, geez, she's done courses along, she keeps learning, I bet you she'll catch on pretty quickly. That's also what continuous learning means. Technical or computer skills. Word, Outlook, Explorer. You should know that if you don't. Who am I talking to? You guys know all that. It's not needed to list it. However, you're a graphic artist and you happen to use Adobe or some certain programs. Put those in. Finance programs, SAP programs, a new HRMS system, things that you have learned along the way. Then you include those, but the basics. Interests. Great debate. I love interests on a resume if they're interesting. I could care less about reading, walking, and working out. Care less. If you're an actual yoga instructor. I ride a bike, who cares about that? Cyclist. I'm an avid cyclist. I've been in the Ride to Conquer Cancer. I do Cycle for Sight. It's conversation. My cycling, I swear I can network almost everyone I meet. They connect with some other ride that they've done or some other person. So, and that's where it could even be, I'll ask you if you travel, what's your favorite place? And if you're an author, what sort of biographies? And volunteer community experience is huge. I love that they're having this in the high schools now because it is continuous. You may not have had a leadership role in your current job, but you actually managed 40 volunteers during the Oakville Santa Claus Parade to make sure they were all there on time. That says a lot. So that demonstrates leadership in your volunteer work. Not references. This does not go on the resume. These are people valuable to you that you will hand out on a separate sheet after the fact, after you have a resume and they ask for those. All right. Other things, languages, speaking engagements, publications, patents, awards, etc. Those go on the resume. Those that do not, all pretty common sense around here, unless of course you are applying on the Pacific Rim where they legally can and they expect you to put your health, your weight, your sex, actually even your sun sign and the year, your Chinese year. It's amazing. Blood type was another one. In Korea they want blood type so they know how you work well with other people. They all have different ways of assessing. Accomplishments. This is the wow factor of the resume. So, just as a sample, developed a neat marketing technique, designed, prepared a manual, or created a program for Frosh Week. Great! But so did 3 other people do the same thing. What is going to define you is the value add. Developed a neat marketing technique, increased sales nationally by 20%. Designed a manual, so what? Currently being used by all the other employees. Created a volunteer program at Frosh Week, ensured clear expectations regarding activities and behaviors as well as the safety of participants. Taken right from other universities on the East Coast. So accomplishments are based on what you did, how you did it, and what was the result. Start with an action verb, a description. Is it volunteer, account? This is the so what. This is the wow factor, the difference. I'm just going to just flash a few up there. You can read these later just for the purpose of time and because I have so many other great samples of resumes. The one thing, without even reading these in detail, that jumps out at you, numbers, credibility. So think about it. Results, accuracy, 10 major, 100 smaller accounts. Think about those. And then there's even a few more here. Oops. As you grow in your career and you start saving me 2,000, 50,000, or millions, you're going to keep building this in your resume at all times. Some people undersell themselves, underestimate what they have to offer. Really think about the differences you made, how you helped someone, how you led a student program, what you're doing. It could be just saving money because you came up with a new coffee vendor in your office. You did some research for them. With formatting is, Word is still a preference versus PDF. And if you're unsure, ask. PDF cannot be scanned for word searches, and I am looking for something in particular like Adobe. I can't scan it on a PDF format. It goes into my system, especially if you're working with any temp agencies, they usually want Word. If unsure, send both or ask. Make sure I can read it. 2 pages, 3, that's for as you grow in your career as an executive because of the specialties. My tip is print it out, put it on the kitchen table, stand back a foot. How does it look? Can you read it? Does it have white space? Make sure it's visually appealing. And watch the fonts, Calibri, Arial. Make sure it's easy on me. I always say that. Go back to the reader. I'll show you just 3 quick samples to give you an idea. You're not expected to read these due to the size of the font on here, but to show you a chunk. Here's a profile. You see it's nice and simple up here. Proactive driven individual. Currently completing. I've done these seminars for existing and recent grads, so you get a bit of vocabulary on both. Brian just graduated university. He did put a few things that he did because he's really selling those pieces. And then he also worked at the health club as a coordinator, summer 2003. Even as a coordinator, he talked about how many clients, 500 clients, 20,000, and he was helping maintain some of that. If I just flip to the next, you'll see we keep it nice and clean. Summer, years, we don't need a lot of months. There's a club counselor, a machine consultant. See, I love his interests, snowboarding, modernistic literature, and golf. I'd call him out on the literature. Give me one of your favorites. How's your golf game? As you grow with your experience, the education has moved to the back, as you've noticed. This is the big differentiation. It doesn't always have to be a paragraph. This data analyst put a few key, really proud points up here, and then started into her experience. As it goes back, now education is here, and here's her volunteer and community experience. And the last one is for technical. So specialties, this is where it does come back to the top. This is the hardware, software, technical experience. Make it really easy when employers are looking for that. If you're ever working for a company that switched names, there's a neat way to put that up there so it's recognized by both, formerly. Again, you can see the numbers that pop out at you. This is what I also find interesting. We have a great technical specialist here. They sometimes get stereotyped as not being the people person, but I know some really amazing people that are in that reel, and this is why interest in community work really add value to that. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? If we have time for questions, I should ask. We do. Thank you. Any questions on these resumes, samples? Yes.
You know, the year you graduated from university, it's obvious how old you are. And as you get to be later in years in your career, maybe that's not something you want to share with your employer.
I have 2 trains of thought, and this is the Janice opinion. Absolutely. So my graduating year is 92, but I actually took years off, so whatever it is, you know I'm almost 50, or I'm into my 50s. My thought number one is if you talk to an HR recruiter internally or others, they just say, just give it to me. Don't make me dance around. You know, to be transparent, because they'll count up the years of your first job. Janice's opinion is, if someone were to screen me out simply on the year I graduated without even bringing me in, do I really want to work there anyway? So it again is a personal opinion if you want to put that on there. That's a 50-50, people decide. Yeah, good. Anything else?
What about a one-pager, half-page introductory profile
Yeah.
document? Where does that fit in?
I love it. So for obviously the mentors in the room here, I do a lot of one-page bios. They've become very creative. Gone are the days of just a paragraph of words. I have your LinkedIn picture. I have key attributes, skills that focus on, my buckets would be business development, facilitation and training, and leadership, let's say. So you bucket your experience with a little bit of, do you want to sell where you've been in the company you worked for, is the associations. I've even seen some that have LinkedIn testimonials down the side. I am more than happy to share. I've got a bucket full of these things that I do constantly as an executive consultant. That's what I do. I'm an executive coach for those in transition. So I work on resumes and bios nonstop. I love them for networking. Don't bring a resume to a networking meeting. Bring a bio.
Would you add, oh sorry, go ahead, I didn't raise my hand.
Mine's a completely different question. Go ahead.
Okay, would you add then some kind of bio profile like that to your resume? You're just talking about having that as a supplemental piece of information.
The bio ultimately starts out looking, it's taken an extraction from the summary on your resume. So if I were to flip back, that's a big piece of it. Once you've done a resume, your bio's pretty much done in a nice condensed, punchy format. So it usually is separate, yes. Resume has all the details and years and exactly every place you worked, where a bio is a marketing document, a brand statement, or a service offering.
Part two. So when would be the opportunity to actually share that with someone then if you're applying for a job, not going to meet, like you don't have that opportunity to meet with them yet, but you think that that is what's kind of going to show them that you are an interesting person?
You don't necessarily use the bio to apply for a job, you use it to network.
Okay.
80 to 90% of all jobs are filled through networking. And so what you're doing here today, when you go down and you say, you know, Elaine, will you give me 5 minutes to meet one day or 20 minutes? Instead of pulling out a resume, when Elaine says, so tell me, what have you been up to lately? Or what are you all about? You can present a beautiful one-page overview, which isn't a resume. A resume is give me a job.
Right.
This is, here's what I'm all about. Can you help me, or do you know anyone that may be able to utilize my skills? It is a very separate, the resume I hold very separately from when it comes to job search. It really is applying to roles, or you've met me on a networking meeting, you now want to introduce me to someone, then they'll say, well, we do have an opportunity, pass me your resume.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, last question.
Okay.
Thanks.
In a resume, you have your work experience, and let's say you've had like 5 jobs or something. One job, really, you want to highlight it, but let's say it's lower down in your list. So your current job isn't as important as the job you had previously, and you want to highlight that so that the employer can see, oh, she's really qualified.
Yeah.
How would you do that? How would
So-
you highlight it in the resume?
And I know we have to wrap up so fast, and I have a sample of a resume that was really geared towards me when I graduated Bishops, because I did have work pockets, and I know you can't see this exactly. It had a profile, my education, and then it clumped all my sort of, I had admin jobs, retail jobs, lawn cutting, what was it, Bell Canada, equipment job, and then I grouped it up that I love training and coaching and project management and organization skills. So what it did is it brought up the fact that I was an admin assistant. In the past, I could bring it forward. It's called reverse functional. So that you can be creative in your resume too. Thank you. Thanks.